What's up, people of Reddit, and welcome to our /AmIOverreacting, where folks ask if they're overreacting about something. Am I an 18-year-old female overreacting when my boyfriend, who is 19, keeps saying he chose me despite having many girls fawn over him? I've been dating him for 2 months at best. We have a long-distance relationship and occasionally meet up sometimes once a week or so. He has a bubbly golden retriever personality, as most would say, while I am pretty introverted. So while I rarely get proposals from guys, and those have stopped since I've begun dating, but he regularly gets them, I don't really have a problem with it, because he usually just says no. But then the other day he said to me, "I have so many girls fawning over me, but I chose to date you multiple times in different ways." And even said that his friends have made an observation that since we are long distance he could be with other girls and get the best of both worlds since I wouldn't know. And asked me, what if I do this? And then said, in just joking, "You're the one for me," etc. And he said I am overreacting when I expressed how it hurts my feelings. Like, what is that supposed to mean? He also often calls other girls hot, and it's annoying when he describes in detail why he finds them hot, etc. He even called his teacher hot and said he was disappointed that she didn't come on a particular day.
Are you serious?
It's making me uncomfortable, and when I tried to talk to him, he said that he's just making an observation and I shouldn't feel this way. He will always stay with me, but I find all of this really weird. So are my feelings valid, or am I just overthinking all of this? I get why the OP is feeling uncomfortable, but maybe it's worth taking a step back and looking at things from a different angle. It's totally normal to feel a little insecure in a long-distance relationship, especially when OP boyfriend is getting a lot of attention from other people. But that doesn't mean he doesn't care about the OP. When he says he chose the OP, it might just be his way of saying how much he values their relationship. He's probably trying to reassure the OP that, even though other people are interested, he's committed to the OP. I know it can sound a bit clumsy or annoying, but he's likely not trying to be disrespectful. Those jokes about being with other girls while they're long distance could just be his way of teasing. If he's genuinely joking, he might not realize how much it bothers the OP. People can joke about all sorts of things in relationships and sometimes don't realize when they've hit a sore spot.
That is true.
It's great that the OP talked to him about how she felt. Maybe the OP can let him know that while the OP understands he's joking, those comments make OP uncomfortable. He might not know it bothers her and could be more careful once he's aware. I'd say try not to overthink things too much. It sounds like he's chosen to be with OP, and that's what matters. If he keeps making OP feel insecure even after knowing how OP feels, it might be time for a more serious conversation about boundaries. Am I overreacting for quitting my job because of a comment from my boss? I am a 24-year-old female graphic designer who recently quit their job after a decidedly awful meeting with my boss. The company is a very small website development/marketing business with a husband and wife duo as owners. I messed up on one of their live websites by duplicating 2 listings so they appeared twice on our portfolio site. I am new to web design. I am a graphic designer and was hired with the understanding that I am learning WordPress. I apologized and fixed the mistake, but my boss was snappy in her email and alluded to me not being able to do simple tasks. This made me cry and was my last straw. She had been rude and short with me before, and I could tell something was up. She was working from home that day, while I was in the office, so I set up a meeting with her the next day to talk in person. I wrote up a document to collect my thoughts and questions. There was nothing rude, and I apologized multiple times in the document and tried to explain that I was more trained as a graphic designer. I brought my iPad in with me to that meeting with my points to reference, and this immediately pissed her off. She told me she couldn't believe I had a document of complaints after my actions yesterday. I started crying, and she told me to stop being emotional. The next hour and a half consisted of her berating me every time I asked a question or tried to say anything. She asked if there was something wrong mentally with me, told me it was a mistake hiring me, said missing work was awful, told me all of my work had to be corrected by my coworkers, and asked if I thought I was beneath this job. I have a low self-esteem as a young person who just entered the workforce 2 years ago. Everything she said hit nerves, and I just cried and apologized during this meeting. I left once it was over and went to lunch. I called my mom for advice and realized what happened was not okay or normal, so I quit. There is no HR team at this company, and the woman who said all of this is the CEO. I am now unemployed and back in the job market. It all happened really fast. I had been there for just under a year and never had this serious of an issue. I miss my coworkers, but I couldn't see her face and know I'd be working for her. Honestly, from what the OP told us, it sounds like OP made the right call by quitting. Nobody deserves to be treated like that, especially when they're still learning and trying their best. I mean, everyone makes mistakes, and it's part of the learning process.
Fact.
The OP's boss should have been supportive and helped OP grow, not lashed out like that. The way the boss reacted sounds really harsh and unprofessional. I'm glad the OP talked to OP's mom and realized that what happened wasn't normal. And leaving was a brave move. I know being back on the job market might feel overwhelming, But this is a chance for the OP to find a place where OP really appreciated and can thrive. The OP deserves a workplace where people respect her and want to see her succeed. Am I overreacting for kicking my maid of honor out of my wedding, which is just a few days away? I'm so upset about this and not thinking clearly, so I'm hoping to get some unbiased opinions before I potentially blow up a 10+ year friendship. Am I overreacting to this? I'm getting married this weekend and my best friend is my maid of honor. I also have 4 other girls in my wedding party as bridesmaids. Last night, I came across a post on a wedding shaming Facebook group that was made by my best friend and MOH, basically trashing me as a person and my entire wedding. It's a private group, so I don't think she ever expected me to be a member and was hoping for some anonymous venting. But what I saw is devastating and hurtful, and now I'm questioning everything. To summarize, she called me cheap, amongst other names, and is accusing me of taking advantage of my bridal party, asking selfish favors, working them to the bone, etc. in an attempt to save money. She also insulted my fiancé and belittled his career. The tone of the post is that of absolute loathing. It's filled with resentment, and I'm questioning if she even likes me now. I have asked my bridal party to do a few things, but I absolutely do not think I've been a bridezilla in any way, shape, or form, but please correct me if you think otherwise. I've tried my best to take their feelings into consideration. I have not asked them to pay for anything. I am covering the cost of their hair, makeup, dresses, even a private hotel room for each person on the day of the wedding. They were all given +1s. We all split the cost of the bachelorette trip equally. She's been acting distant with me lately, and I assumed it was because she was just busy or something. But seeing what she said about me, I now know it's because she's thinking these awful thoughts about me and my wedding. The problem is, I don't think I can have her up there with me anymore. I can't have my MOH be someone who says these things about me. I can no longer trust her to give a speech. What will she even say? I think I'm going to send her screenshots of her post in the Facebook group and ask her not to attend my wedding. But we've been friends for close to 15 years, so maybe I should just let it go and slowly phase her out of my life. So Reddit, would I be overreacting if I confronted her and kicked her out of my wedding that's a few days away? From what OP shared, it's completely understandable that OP's feeling hurt and betrayed. Finding out that the OP's best friend has been trash-talking the OP and the wedding online is a huge blow, especially so close to the big day.
That ain't right. Shame on you.
Honestly, I don't think the OP is overreacting at all for feeling like the OP can't trust her anymore. The fact that the OP has covered so many expenses and tried to be considerate of her bridal party's needs shows that OP's been thoughtful and fair. OP best friend's post seems to come from a place of resentment. I think the OP should definitely talk to her best friend before making any final decisions. Maybe send her the screenshots and let her know how hurtful her words were. Am I overreacting for telling my husband that his son's, my stepson's, behavior is bad? On my son's 2nd birthday last night, I was washing his face at the kitchen sink after dinner. He accidentally kicked the towel hanger off the hinges and broke it. His 9-year-old son, as usual, lost his temper over it and was calling him a F-word. As usual, my husband never says anything to him. After we picked up the towel hanger and got it half back on, I took my baby to change his clothing and diaper and had shut the bedroom door behind me. I was annoyed that his 9-year-old is always saying things like this and has this animosity towards him, and it's never stopped. I do a lot for his 3 children and am basically their second mother. We do get along and I care for them, cook for them, etc. But his son is always ripping toys out of my 2-year-old's hands, calling him stupid and actually getting quite physically aggressive with him, so now I have to monitor when they play alone. My husband doesn't see an issue at all. Anyways, on his birthday last night, we got into a massive fight over me shutting the door. He was that angry over shutting the door, and then I told him how I felt, which made it even worse. And that he doesn't listen to me, only to him, but there's never any form of discipline. He's claiming I'm trying to divide them and the family, that I'm being an abusive stepmother like he had. I know that if a 9-year-old was calling his other son a F-word constantly as a baby, he wouldn't tolerate it. He seems to not think of our son as his own too. He was even about to leave last night on his birthday over this. Am I just overreacting? I totally get why the OP is feeling frustrated and hurt. From what the OP has shared, it doesn't seem like the OP is overreacting at all. It's completely valid to be worried about the stepson's behavior, especially when it's affecting their little one and causing tension in the family. It's pretty concerning that the husband doesn't see a problem with his son's behavior and dismisses the OP's concerns. The way the stepson reacted, especially on his birthday, shows how much of this is affecting the family dynamic. Calling the OP abusive stepmom seems really unfair, especially since the OP is just trying to create a good environment for everyone. Am I overreacting if my boyfriend said his exes are hotter than me? I saw a video on YouTube where couples were hooked up to a lie detector and asked each other questions. At one point, they asked, Do you think any of your exes are hotter than me? Her boyfriend went on to say yes and tell her who and whatever. You get the point. I explained this video and what they said to my boyfriend and said, that's so upsetting that he said that to her. We have other unrelated conversation and I loop back to ask him the same question. He takes 30 seconds to think and finally responds with, yes, but they had shitty personalities. My stomach literally sank and I felt so hurt and like I was going to be sick. I'm not dumb. Obviously, I know that there are people who are prettier than me, but I genuinely wasn't expecting him to say yes in general, but especially not after I explained how awful I felt for the girl in the video. I tried to explain how this upset me and switched the roles, but he said he wouldn't be upset and now I feel like I'm crazy. He doesn't seem to understand why this had such a negative impact on me. I just can't stop thinking about it. I totally get why the OP is feeling upset, but I think the OP might want to take a step back and chill a bit. It's easy to be sensitive about stuff like this, but it might not be as bad as it seems. When the OP asked her boyfriend that question, it probably put him in a tough spot. He was just being honest, and it doesn't mean he thinks any less of the OP. Plus, he mentioned that his exes had bad personalities, which shows he values more than just looks in a relationship. It's normal to have insecurities, but the OP should remember that her boyfriend is with the OP for a reason. He chose the OP, and that's what matters.